Welcome to part 2 of my Danish cord seat weaving videos. In the part 1 we did the front to back strands of the weaving, what I call the weft. In this part we're going to be doing the final weaving of the warp going across and also applying a finish. So let's get on with it. So as I said, we're now ready to start the weaving in earnest. So what we're going to do is we're going to start in the back left corner. That cord in there. You can see now we've got a nice tidy, you can see the box is nice and tidy with the cord coming out in the middle there. So I'll turn it on this side again. So what I'm going to do is wind the same as we've done here where we've cast off. I'm going to start off with a bit of cord under and over like that, and I want to try and get into that. It's quite tricky into these corners here. I want to try and get into that corner, that nail right in the corner there. So if I can, in fact I'm going to start the other way around. I'm going to go under that one. And then get into that nail right in the corner there. So now I can turn it the right way up. I should be able to come round like that. What I want to do now, you have to put this up on top of it. I need to get a loop which is long enough to go all the way over and hook round the nail there. So that's about right. So I'm going to start over the top of the fork at the end there. Move it backwards and forwards. Now you don't want to put it too tight. If you might try and make it too tight, what happens is, see how it's lifting the weft up and down? If it's too tight, it will hold them tight like that and you won't be able to get the next lot coming through butted right up. So you want it sort of not too tight. And then take it round. And now we've got to try and find that nail in the corner there. Once you've got the corner sorted, it's a lot more straightforward. It's getting these nails in the corners that's the tricky bit. So if I come round there, get into there. Oh, that was fairly painless, wasn't it? Now I might need to pull that through again. I'm going to turn it over again. Try and get it fairly straight. That's probably about right. It's not too tight, so when we do the other one it will sort of tend to bend these back down and up, whereas if you've got it really tight you can't get that sort of bending of these. So now if we come round to the next nail, so you can see I've done the nails in sort of, so I haven't got them all in one line, so there's a bit more spacing. I've got in two rows, so we've gone on that nail there to start with. I'm now going to go on to that one. So if I can get in there, I have to move that bit out of the way. So once we get the corners sorted, it's a lot more straightforward. There we go. There we are. Now we come back round, we take out another loop, so it's going to take us all the way around, and then obviously go underneath this one for this time. You've got to make sure it's not twisted. Right, now I can get hold of you. Got the strands along. See how this is where it's coming from the nail, then it's crossed over, so I've got to try and do very well on that one. There we go. Now I can pull that a little bit tighter. Probably about like that. So I'm wanting, that was my first nail, so I'm wanting that nail now. It's a bit easier than it was before. Oh. Don't worry that these nails are sort of swiveling around a bit. What we're going to do when we finish, we're going to go around and knock them all in tight so it holds everything together. Right. So now what we're looking to do is to get the two sets of cord sort of butting up to each other. Can you see what I mean? If I've got this one too tight, then I won't be able to push these up tight together. There's a little bit of that happening. I think we'll be alright there. Can you see how they're sort of sliding back a bit? A little bit tight, I think. I might have to get my tension right, a bit like knitting, I suppose, really. So I'm going to take that one out and slacken that one off a bit, and then I'll work all the others to the same amount of tension. So possibly come back later. I've slackened off that first one, and then I've come across with the second one, which we did before. I've also done a third one as well, and you can see the effect we're getting now, where you know, these are riding up and down the warp. So I'm fairly happy with what we've got there now. I think that having the extra one on helps to make the previous one stay close to the original, and we're not getting a big gap in between them. So as I'm going on, I'm sort of making sure that we're getting a nice straight line. There can be a tendency as you get further along for it to bulge out, you know, for the middle ones not to go back in so much. So you need to keep checking that. Yeah, so I've done a bit, about just under halfway perhaps. You can see I've tried to keep it regular, you know, so the sort of gaps between the, well, just it's all uniform really, and I'm sort of checking occasionally to make sure that I'm not getting the sort of bulge in the middle, and it's sort of nice and tight. So I'm finding that getting the tension right is a lot easier once you're in the middle sort of thing, and also because we haven't got the casting on and casting off bits, it's a lot easier to get it around the hooks. So, of course, I like that. I've got my eye in now, so it's getting a bit quicker. I don't think I've got any misweaves. I'll be upset if I had. And also, I quite like the way these you know, 4 on the outside, the 4 strands, are sort of tending to bulge out slightly, so there's a very slight curve. So it's tending to follow the curve of the outside of the rail. Right, so sort of I'm tensioning by sort of pulling it up about that much, and then so that's fairly tight, but by the time you take the bulge in, and also if you don't hold on too tight there, you can feel it sort of slip through your fingers a bit. So and hook that round onto the next nail. And again, I'm trying to get it so that it's nice and smooth underneath, there's no sort of cord sticking up or anything. So by the time you've taken that sort of bulge in, it should be about the right sort of tension. You want to try and get it so that there's not any sort of, if you don't get the right tension, then you end up with a sort of a loose strand which is sort of sitting up a little bit. So these are all fairly nice and the right tension. I wouldn't say tight, I was going to say tight, but I won't. And it's a check. Slight bulge there. That's not too bad. Right, and then carry on. So I'm going to work my way. I've still got lots of nails to get to. I'll work my way along until we get to this bit here, which is the really tricky bit. There's a nail right in the corner there. I'm not even sure I'm going to be able to reach that. But we'll have a look at that when I get to that point. Right. So, welcome back. You can see here I've done quite a bit more, and I've taken it up to here. I've got 2 more nails left underneath. Now, whether I'm going to be able to get tape to cord to both those nails, I'm not sure. We'll see how we get on. It's gone quite well, and I'm quite pleased with the sort of the weave. It's nice and uniform. I haven't got too many gaps in there. Might be a bit of one now. I might push that back a bit later. And I got to about here, and I thought, these cords aren't actually lining up with the nails. You know, the cord is further back from the nail the nail was further back from the cord that I was working with, and I realised I'd actually missed a nail further back. So if you find that's happening, you know, that they're not lining up, it could be because you've missed one, you know, and they're getting a bit out of phase. So just keep an eye on that. Okay, so pull a bit more cord off. Right, so I'll turn it on this side, Nick, so you're not having to crawl underneath. So you can see I've got one nail there, and there's another one tucked right up in the corner there, similar at the other end. So I'm going to have a go at that now. It's going to be fairly simple, that one, but the next one's going to be the tricky one. So see how we go on. I confidently said that's going to be an easy one, but we'll see. I'll get the screwdriver in there. Get in there.
I think your fingers are quite big for this.
My finger's quite big for everything, really.
Have you ever considered child labour? Very nimble fingers.
Yeah, yeah. Right. You can see that the nail's fairly loose, but as I say, we'll go around and tap them all home at the end and finish weaving. So do the same as usual. So I'm going underneath that one. Oops. You see it's getting quite tight.
So this is the penultimate
This
row.
is well, I don't know.
Right.
I'll make my mind up in a minute. I might make this the last one. I'll see how much room we've got.
Right.
Yeah, I'll tilt the chair over and give me a cup of tea out of the way. So I'm wanting to get up to that one there. There we go. Right. I'm going to pull it a bit tighter. When I was doing it before, I had that sort of, I was allowing the coal to bow out and then pushing it in to get the tension. I haven't got that option now. So, well, it's not too bad actually. Hang on a minute. See the deliberate mistake? That's it's interesting, isn't it? I made a mistake right on the very last chord of the job. See, I'm over both of them. So at least I haven't spotted one back there somewhere, which would have been really annoying. So perhaps we might cut this bit out while I'm fixing this. So I've sorted out that little faux pas in the corner there, and I've sort of got everything going nicely along back to here. So I've got to decide whether to go for that last nail or not. We've got these little gaps here, which I think would be nice to get rid of if possible. So I'm going to see if I can get into that last nail. Now this one down here doesn't look too bad actually. If I can move that one out of the way a little bit. I come in
to go in around there and back across. No, perhaps it's not as easy as I thought it was going to be. There we go, right. Oh. Try and get it to come this side of the. There we go. Right. Fortunately, I'll go above that block. It'll be quite difficult to get it underneath there. Right. So I might edit out this boring bit and then.
That's enough.
Yeah.
So what are you doing now?
I'm trying to get to that nail there, which is looking pretty damn impossible.
Oh yeah.
So what I'm going to do is tap that one home a bit more.
Right.
To try and get it out of the way, and I'll try and sort of push that cord out of the way and see how we get on. But it might not be possible. I'm a little bit more hopeful, but there's not a lot of room there, is there? I think we might be on there, actually. Yeah. So the other thing I could have done was pull that nail out a bit more, so there was a bit more room around it. I think it might be in there. There we go. Yeah, good. Well, good part of it. It's not quite fully on, but I think it's going to be okay. Whew. This is where the pliers come in useful because it's quite a tight fit across there now. Okay, you don't want to put it too tight. But yeah, so that's not too bad, is it? Yeah. So there's a bit of tidying up to do when I finish, there's the odd little bit where, but I'll leave that till later. Right. And now we've just got to finish off. What I might do, get my pen knife out. What I want to do is get it along there, and I'm going to tack it with some tacks. Unfortunately, I just realised I've run out of tacks actually. So we're going to have to break off, and I'm going to go and buy some tacks from our friendly local ironmongers.
I had to get a smaller screwdriver in. There we go. I'm going to get the pliers in there now. Right, so we have to break off while I go out and buy some curves and tacks. So just to get things going, I've put tack in already.
Right.
I've tried to make it so it pierces one of the strands of the cord. I think I've achieved that. So what I'm going to do now is drive it in. Okay. Try and get it through the strand. If you get it, it goes between the strands, then there's a chance that it will just slide. Whereas if you pierce the strand, then it's got a better grip. One more, just to be on the safe side.
So I guess you didn't have to do this before because you were then winding over the top of the start.
Yeah. So all the others have been gripped by,
Yeah.
That one there. You can see it's being held by all the ones on top. Whereas this isn't going to have anything going over the top of it. I might just trim off those sticky out bits. I'll do that without cutting my fingers. All the rest of them cold. That'll do. While I've got the hammer in my hand, I could do this going around tapping home all the rest of the nails. Some of them might have got a bit twisted. It's not too bad, but you might want to straighten them up a bit. And solid all the way around. That's sort of job done, really. So I think I mentioned earlier on, coming towards the end of this, that we need to put something on to protect the cord. We don't want to get gravy all over it and not be able to get it stained and everything. What I usually do is I apply a two coats actually, of bleached shellac. So we can buy bleached shellac as a liquid, or you can buy the flakes and then sort of create a polish by melting them in mess. I can't remember what the proportions are, but I'm sure you can look them up somewhere. So I've got this this shellac here. This is bleached shellac, so it shouldn't discolour too much. It will discolour a bit. And I had a student on one of the chair making courses who wanted to try and maintain this colour, and he used Scotch Guard, the fabric protector, waterproofer, and he sprayed it with the Scotch Guard, and he said it worked quite well. So if you don't want to darken it down too much, then possibly try Scotch Guard. I'd suggest you do a sort of a test on the underneath or something first, just to see how it works. Okay, so now I can't remember. I mentioned at the beginning. I already finished this chair before I even started weaving it. So this has got Osmo oil on it, Osmo Raw, to prevent the ash becoming yellowed. So I don't really want to go painting too much onto the.
How many coats did you put on with that?
I think it was either 2 or 3.
Okay.
I think it was 2. Now I suppose really I ought to be masking around here to avoid getting shellac on, but I forgot about that, and I'm just going to press on. So I'm using what's called a Zerino mop, which is just what I always use when I'm putting shellac on, but I'm sure you could do it with an ordinary brush. But so I'm trying to be careful not to get it on the wood, and so you need to get it on fairly generously so that it gets in and out of all the ups and downs. And you can see how it is darkening it down, but it will mean you can wipe the gravy off later on. And I usually I don't bother doing the underneath, I just sort of come around about that far. And so on. So I'll just carry on with this, and then that's it really. I'll do a shot of the finished chair. So that's about it really. I find that Danish cork makes a very comfortable and attractive seat, and it's also very light, so the chair itself is very light. I'm not teaching I'm not teaching at all now. I'm not teaching the chair making course anymore, but if you're interested in having a go at making a chair, then I'll be happy to send you the handout if you just message me. Big thanks to Nick for doing the camera work, and I'm posting a link to his website at the end of this video. And if you have been, thanks for watching.